What up, YouTube? It's your boy Open Mind. I know it's been a minute since y'all seen my face. Just wanted to bless y'all with my presence and address a few things that have happened, in the last, I guess, couple of weeks, last week or two. Hope y'all enjoyed the content I've been putting out for the last couple of weeks. That was for y'all, the situation with Sonic Soul and everything. I had fun with that while it lasted, but I'm done with that shit. I'm not on that shit back and forth no more, so I'm done with that. But it was fun while it lasted, good content. I did that shit for y'all. That was for y'all. That was for the FGC. I just hope y'all enjoyed it. I see y'all are enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the love. I appreciate the clicks and views, the likes, everything, man, the shares. I appreciate all the love y'all have shown me just for the content. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just if you sit back and look at the video for what it is, just watching it from beginning to end, it was a dope content, dope video. And I appreciate y'all for showing me that love. For me, it's all love. For the FGC, for the gaming community. None of this shit is for like fame and fortune and notoriety. It's just content. It's just content for gamers. Like everybody who game, whatever game you play, you put out content, something dope happens in the game, and you capture that moment and you share it with the world. That's all it is. It's really that. But I really want to address a lot of. I want to address some things in general, right? I think I've addressed the situation with Sonic Soul enough, but this has nothing to do with Sonic Soul. This has everything to do with the gaming community in general. Now, what I want to address starting off is the entitled mentality that a lot of gamers have across all games: Madden, NBA 2K, Call of Duty, any fighting game. Any game that's co-op that matches you to another human, just online gaming, right? It could be a shooting game, it could be Apex Legends, it could be Fortnite. Any game where you are online with other humans, interacting with those humans, and you decide you don't want to interact with those humans, right? Those humans shame you for not wanting to interact with them. And there's the entitlement. Now, let me paint some pictures and break down some scenarios for y'all. Things that happen on the game that doesn't go public, and then if it goes public, it's everybody's framing their own narratives, everybody's telling their side of the story, when really what's happening is there's just behavior, and then there's entitled behavior that takes place privately when you're gaming. And the entitled behavior is either disconnecting or not rematching a person. I say disconnect, y'all say rage quit. That's the whole of this. It's entitled. Your mind is entitled. So when the game disconnects, you automatically say the person rage quit. You don't know that they rage quit. You don't know that rage quit implies emotion. Rage means you're upset, mad, pissed off. Therefore, you turn the game off. Rage quit. But that's not always the case. Most of the time, that's not the case. That's only the case some of the time. Most of the time, it's something happening in cyberspace, or a person just decided to turn the game off. And so, I got somewhere I got to go. I can't finish this. Turn the game off mid-game. You don't know what's going on in people's houses, what's going on in people's situation. You can't see these people. You can't see the environment around them. You just see them, the avatar they're controlling on the game that you're playing. But you don't see their personal space. So to determine why the game disconnected from them, why they disconnected from the game, you have no idea why. But your entitlement mind would say they rage quit, they trash, they scared, and they're toxic. That's your entitled mindset towards the person who disconnected or didn't rematch you. Your mind is entitled because you're sitting in your chair playing your game, and you want things to happen that like that. And if you don't get what you want, you throw a tantrum. You don't get what you want from another gamer, you throw a tantrum and say this and that to them. They're scary, they rage quit, they're toxic. Because they didn't give you what you want. That's entitlement. That's another example. Now, before I get to another example, let me give y'all some history on online gaming. Online gaming started around the PlayStation 2 era, right? That's how old I am. In the PlayStation 2 era, online gaming was real choppy. Like, the internet wasn't smooth. The connection wasn't smooth back then. You dealt with lagginess. You dealt with bad connections regularly. It was a regular thing. As with any new thing that comes out, there's kinks that got to be worked out. So a lot of people was disconnecting in those days. Like, disconnecting from a game was a normal thing because the connection was bad. It's just a bad connection. And people can't focus and play at their full potential with bad connections. Connection bad, you're not at your full potential. You just mashing, hoping it's over, and if you win, you win, you lose. But that's not the fight you want because the connection's bad. You're not getting your inputs that you want. You get input delay, or you're not getting inputs at all, or you can't, or it's hard for you to try to control the character because the character's unresponsive and too much is going on at one time. Your brain just can't do that. Nobody's brain can function in a laggy situation. Nobody's actually still focused and know what's happening. Everybody on both ends is just mashing buttons when it's laggy. So the idea that a person doesn't want to deal with your laggy connection and so they then therefore disconnect, that's not rage quit. That's a decision to not want to be bothered with this laggy connection, with this bad internet, with this bad situation. As far as cyberspace is concerned, the connection is obviously bad, and you the player don't want to deal with that connection. You don't have to either. There's no rule that says you have to sit there and take that. Now, it gets deeper, right? Because that's just the connection part. Fast forward to now, because that's the PlayStation 2 era. Fast forward to now. Most connections are smooth, but there's still laggy internet. People still playing in PlayStation. People still playing video games via Wi-Fi, which has been proven that Wi-Fi is not stronger than Ethernet. It's been proven over and over again that a Wi-Fi connection is weaker than a hardwired Ethernet connection. But people still insist on playing on Wi-Fi, and for whatever reason, you don't know a person's home setup to know why they can't use an Ethernet cord and why they're on Wi-Fi. A lot of people's modems are all the way across the house, or in a different room in the house where they're sitting at. And the room that the internet is inconvenient to game in, where this room is more convenient to game in. So therefore, they don't want to run a long cord through the house and looking all crazy, so they just do Wi-Fi to keep everything smooth. But yet, they have to deal with the possibility of them having a choppy connection because they're on Wi-Fi and everybody else is on hardwired. So that's also things that happen. There's an entitlement mentality, right? People insist on playing video games via Wi-Fi connection. Entitlement means I don't have any consideration for anybody else. I'm only worried about my situation. Therefore, who cares about you? Entitlement. Here's where it gets deeper though. There's a thing that's frowned upon in the gaming community about rematching people, right? Let's go back to history. Not all competitive games have a rematch option, right? A lot of games are one and done. Shooting games, sports games, adventure co-op games, and fighting games all equally don't always have a rematch option. Somebody wins, somebody loses. You go to the end match screen and you see the results of the game. You go back to lobby and you find another match. Any game that has matchmaking in it, a lot of them games don't even have a rematch option, right? And games that do have a rematch option, you still don't have to take that option if you don't want to, right? You win or lose, you go to the rematch screen, you decide not to rematch, you can do that. I'm here to tell you that there's no fucking rule that says you can't. And anybody that comes at you, like the first person let's say whatever game you playing, right? Whatever game you playing, you have a match and there's a clear winner and loser. You go to the screen that says rematch said individual and you choose not to rematch. You don't owe them an explanation. You don't owe me or the world an explanation. Your decision to click no thanks or decline or whatever the screen option gives you, you just didn't rematch. You're allowed to do that. There's no rule that says you have to. Option. It's a rematch option. Doesn't mean you have to take it. The company who made the game you're playing didn't say in the fine print that upon matching up with another opponent, you must rematch. The only game that does that is Mortal Kombat 11. Mortal Kombat 11 is the only game that forces you to rematch each other. Because if you back out between sets, you'll lose. You'll take the loss. You can win the first set in Mortal Kombat 11, but if you don't rematch that person, you'll lose the set. But that's Mortal Kombat 11. That's not all. That's one of the reasons Mortal Kombat 11 dropped in player base. It's one of the reasons Mortal Kombat 11 really died out. Aside from a myriad of other reasons Mortal Kombat 11 pretty much lost its sauce. That's one of the main reasons that people, when they fight in Mortal Kombat, are forced to go a full set. If you don't go to full set in Mortal Kombat 11, you lose, even if you won the first set. That's a game that forces people to deal with each other, right? Which is why it's so toxic, which is why Mortal Kombat 11 and the NetherRealm didn't get the full praise from the community like they should have. The game itself is dope. The gameplay and everything else is great, but it's the administrative part of the game, right? Anytime a person feels forced to do anything, there's a level of resistance there. We're all human, right? A human being doesn't like to be forced to do anything. None of us like to be slaves. None of us like to be told what to do or forced into some shit we don't really want to do. And if you don't want to do something, you don't owe nobody no explanation as to why you don't want to do something. Even if they sit back and argue with you to hell about it. Why don't you want to do something? Is you scared? Is you right? You don't have to engage a motherfucker back and forth explaining yourself why you don't want to do some shit, right? Or you don't feel like you want to do some shit. You know what I'm saying? You don't owe nobody that explanation. That is nobody's business. You know, but the entitled mindset in gaming would have you explain to them. They want an explanation. Why won't you do this for me? Why won't you do this for me? A motherfucker you don't know, never met, you just met on the internet, all you see is their little PlayStation name or their Xbox name or their PC name. This person wants you to give them something by force. And if you don't give them what they want by force, they will fucking troll you to hell, aggravate you to hell, or make your experience on the game stressful and negative and toxic because they don't get what they want from you. And that's the entitlement in gaming that has to stop. Like, y'all do what y'all want to do. Really? Like, y'all do what y'all want to do as far as how y'all want to game. But I'm just speaking in general to the community as to what I'm going to do or how I do things. Ain't nobody going to force me to do shit I don't want to do. And if I don't have the time to do some shit, I'm not going to explain to the person that I don't have time. The answer would just be no or decline or, whatever the fuck. You're welcome to think what you want, right? Because if the conversation took place in the inbox, you didn't see my face or hear my voice or even see my environment. You just saw my response or saw my answer. If you take from that information, that conversation and go run and create your own narrative, that's on you. I can't control how you think or how you feel. All I can control is my response to you, my own intention. But at the end of the day, this video game It's supposed to be for fun. A person like myself, an older person like myself, I don't play the video game for the same reasons everybody else play the video game. A lot of people play the games to be the best in the world at the game that they're playing. The best, the absolute best, better than everybody. I'm the best, I'm number one, I'm all, right? That's fine. That's you. But if nobody wants to play the game the same reasons you play the game, they don't have to. They don't have to. And you don't have a right to tell them how, right? You don't have a right to tell a person how to do some shit. Whether you got some advice to give or you think you're really good and another person is not as good as you, that person does not have to listen to you or do what the fuck you say. And if they choose not to listen to you or do what the fuck you say, that doesn't make them toxic. That makes you toxic. Because you want to push yourself on people and the people don't want to be bothered with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's that shit. So speaking in general, going forward, I would hope that y'all would get your shit under control. Because as you come on the internet and project your mental health issues onto the world, whatever mental health issues you dealing with, because I was a young person, I remember the days in my 20s of being on the internet, on PlayStation, on the Xbox, inboxing people, being toxic, right? Being, you know what I'm saying, like being childish and immature with each and every one of my opponents, and you know what I'm saying, for whatever reason. As you get older, you realize that shit's not necessary, right? Because none of that helped you get better at the game. None of the interactions that you have in inboxes are helping you get better at the video game itself. You either good or you bad. You either won or you lost. You right? You either know how to play or you don't know how to play. Right? None of the banter helps with the skill. But yet, the banter and the toxicity is what gets the clicks and views. So you got people who play video games with the intent to create toxic content so that they can get clicks and views off that toxic content. That too is somebody's prerogative, but everybody doesn't have to participate in that if they don't want to. If a person doesn't want to be a part of your toxic content, they have a right to not want to be a part of your toxic content. So if it's your intention to come online and be an asshole towards the people that you run into, and you want to clip yourself being an asshole, and a person doesn't want to be a part of your clip, they don't have to. Nobody has to put up with your shit. And however they go about not being part of your bullshit, that's their right to do that. You know, we have enough stress in the world, in the real world. The economy is stressful. People got family problems. People got relationship problems. People got problems with their kids. Kids may have, terminal diseases. You know, these kids, they got cancer, leukemia kids, right? The cancer centers, you see the little kids with leukemia and stuff like that. These children ain't even gonna live to see the age 15 because they're waiting to die. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of sorrow and sadness going on in the world. Things that stress you out about. A lot of us are related to a lot of these kids. We got little cousins and nieces and nephews that are in these little cancer centers waiting to die. You don't know what a person is stressed out about that's on the game, for you to then add the game's stress onto them because you're in the mood to be a jackass, right? A person does not have to take your shit on the PlayStation. They don't have to take your shit. Even if you want them to, they don't fucking have to. A lot of y'all need to grow up because shit like that can escalate off the game. You can keep pushing it, laughing and go, making them mad. Look, he's bad. He's bad. But I'm gonna use an example of when, I don't know, I can't remember the guy's name, but I do remember Punk the God, right? I was on Twitter looking at a Twitter thread, and Punk the God and another guy was going back and forth on a Twitter thread. The guy whose name I can't think of right now, and this was a couple of weeks ago, right? This wasn't recent. The guy in question was telling Punk in the tweet that when I see you at the tournament, we're going to address that shit you were saying on the mic. You like to talk tough on the mic, but we're going to see if you got that same energy in my face, right? Now, I don't know what was said, even on Punk's mic, because I don't follow Punk on YouTube. I don't really know what the beef or the issue was between Punk and this other gamer guy who was also going to be at the physical tournament that they were going to attend. But what I do know is the point is I'm trying to make is that you can't just come at people and assume that certain people not going to come find you or come see about you what you said. Like trolling a person for your own amusement and your own sick entertainment may not always go over well for you, right? Some people may not take the shit the way you should. You may feel as though, hey man, I'm just trolling, I'm just bullshitting around. Don't take it that serious. You shouldn't take this not that serious. But the person who's doing the shit is always saying it's not that serious. But the person on the receiving end might not feel that way. And you don't get to decide how somebody responds to your bullshit. Shit can get out of hand. It can escalate into physical, real life violence. Motherfucker will come find you. You sitting in your little video game chairs thinking that you're protected and you're not. You can be dealing with some of the most ruthless, crazy motherfuckers out here in the world who just happen to be playing a video game that day. And you decided to make that person your fucking, you know what I'm saying? And they come find you. And it gets beyond the video game. It's no more about the video game. Now it's done got really real. All because you want to be an asshole on your video game console to strangers who may not take that the way you think they should. You may feel as though a person is overboard in their response, but you don't get to make that determination if you started it. You starting shit with people and they finish it with you and you don't like how they finish it, don't start no shit. Stop fucking with people. Play the game for fun, right? If I'm allowed to play my PlayStation for my reasons, I play for fun. 100% fun. And if I'm not having fun, I'm going to leave the game. With a shooting game, Madden, NBA 2K, a fighting game, an adventure co-op game, whatever game I'm playing that matches me to other humans, right? If there's a human that I'm interacting with on the video game that's giving me shit, I'm going to disconnect from that human. Not rage quit. I'm going to disconnect. It's the only option I have to get away from the person. If we're in a party or we're in a game together or we're facing each other, if this person is intentionally, obviously trying to piss me off, right? It is your intention to make me mad. I don't have to let you do that. I could disconnect from the game. Right? Whatever behaviors you showing or displaying that has the intent behind it to make me mad, and I decide to do this, I decide to just back out completely and go find another opponent or go find another group of people to play with, I'm allowed to do that. In other words, anybody that's a jackass is going to be a jackass all by themselves. You're not going to have no friends. You're going to be alone talking to a fucking wall. Because I don't have to put up with your shit, right? There are certain things that happen in gaming, certain things people do that you can't prove. There's no way of proving it, but you see them doing it in the moment. So only in the moment can you see it, but you can't, there's no way to video capture it, screenshot it, or even kind of prove it. But like a lot of times you're on a mic and they're on a mic and their mic isn't recorded. Like this is what I mean. The PlayStation has an option where a person can be on a microphone, but you can't record their voice on your end. So there's no way of recording what they said to you. They can sit there and talk all the trash to you on that mic, on the game that has mic feature. In your ear, you're listening to this. Or if you're not plugged in, it's on your TV. If they're mic'd up and you not, it's on your TV and you can hear them talking. If you disconnect from the game, which inevitably shuts their mic off, you're allowed to do that. There's no rule that says you can't. And don't let nobody else tell you or dictate to you how to play your video game, right? If you're a gamer, you play your video game and make your own fucking rules. There are no rules. Whereas people try to make them, especially in the FGC, is very entitled in the FGC. But I'm here to bust the FGC's bubble. There are no fucking rules. Outside of tournaments, outside of regulated tournaments, your online gaming experience when you sitting on your couch playing in casual modes, rank modes, or whatever modes the game you have, the fighting game that you playing, you do not have to follow anybody's fucking rules that are made up. You open up that game, you read the terms and conditions, and that's all you have to follow is the terms and conditions of that game. As long as you're not violating that, you good. But none of those terms and conditions say you have to take a fight from a motherfucker who's getting on your nerves, pissing you off, trying to piss you off. And it's nothing to do with the fight itself. It has everything to do with their actions and words. Nothing to do with the fight itself, but their actions towards you. A lot of people do a lot of shit. Please, people, get over yourselves and get out this entitlement mentality. Swallow your fucking egos about this game. Whether you're good at the game, mediocre at the game, whatever. It's your own personal progress, and that's it. Whatever you've accomplished on the game is your own personal progress. Doesn't mean you're better than anybody. It doesn't mean you're the best in the world, and it doesn't give you the right to project your bullshit onto people. Because you at a certain plateau and another person isn't, doesn't give you the right to engage that person and argue back and forth with them and create a toxic situation with them because you feel like you should. Right? Last thing I want to address before I end the video is these first to tens mindsets in the FGC. I don't even know where that shit came from, because even back when I was playing, a younger person, like back in the late 90s, early 2000s, when I was a real avid gamer back then, that wasn't a rule that we lived by. Like, let's fight 10 times and see who's the best out of 10. Like that. It was the best out of 5. What we did growing up, we would go over each other's houses, right? Because we didn't have internet. It wouldn't even be the best out of 5. I'll take that back. It's just one and done. Now that I think about it, I go back to let me go back to 1996, right? Let's say 1996. I was a freshman in high school. 1996, I was a freshman in high school. We would pile up over each other's houses. It'd be about 8 of us deep in a basement, because I'm from Detroit. 8 of us deep in either my basement, they basement, whoever house we going over, right? When you lost, you passed the sticks. One and done. Ain't no fucking rematch. Because if it's a rematch, then everybody else can get a chance to play. Right? You pick your characters, you fight, you win, you stay on the sticks. You lose, you pass the sticks. One and done. And before the advent of the internet, before the advent of, matchmaking, you either went to the arcade, put your quarter in the machine, you won, you lost, you get off the machine so somebody else can play, right? Then you got the home consoles. People go over each other's houses, 7, 8 people deep. You pass the sticks around. The loser passes the sticks around. You get online features. Not all games came with a rematch option. It's another thing y'all don't get. Only certain fighting games even have the option to rematch. Like, most fighting games are one and done. You win, you lose. There is no way to rematch. Street Fighter 4 don't have rematch option. Street Fighter 3 didn't have rematch option. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 didn't have a rematch option. Multiverses. No, not Multiverses. Smash Brothers didn't have a rematch option. Let me see, who else? More games, recent fighting games that didn't have rematch options, where some did, some didn't. Can't think of them right now, top of my head, but that's just fighting games. I don't know a shooting game in existence that have a rematch option. Call of Duty does not rematch. It's all one and done. Madden is all one and done. NBA 2K is one and done. Fortnite, one and done. Apex Legends, one and done. Racing games, one and done. Competitive gaming. Not all games have a rematch option. So how you get mad at a person for one and done when the game itself don't have a rematch option? And if the game has a rematch option, How you get mad at a person for one and done? Because they don't take the option. You want them to take the option, but they don't take the option. So therefore, you mad at them. And you can't even see these people. You don't talk to them. You don't even know what the fuck's going on the other end. All you know is they clicked decline rematch or not rematch or whatever they did. They didn't give you what you wanted. So therefore, you project your negative bullshit onto this person that you just ran into. And then the exchange with you and that person going forward is always toxic, never positive. Because you assumed some shit that wasn't even fucking true. You wouldn't take the time to have a conversation. Your brain automatically went to toxicity when your screen showed you that the said individual did not give you a rematch. And now there's unnecessary negative beef going on in the gaming industry over stupid ass immature shit like, the guy didn't give me a rematch. He won and done. That's how, because anytime I see a comment at me about that, when somebody comment at me and say, open mind, you won and done, I read it like that. Hey, open mind, you just won and done. That's how I read it. That's how I read your comments. Whether it's in my PlayStation inbox or it's on social media directed at me. When I'm reading your words, I'm reading it in that whiny ass voice. Because y'all fucking children at the end of the day. I'm a grown ass man. I got children. I'm raising kids, right? When I sit down and play my game after a long, hard day's work, I'm relaxing and chilling. This is my quiet time, my peace of mind, my stress-free moment. And I'm not letting none of you motherfuckers stress me out. I don't give a fuck how you feel. I don't give a goddamn what your strong opinion is about me, about how I interact on the game. Why the fuck you ain't get the experience you wanted from me? My intention when I play the video game is to have fun and to avoid all negative, toxic bullshit. Anybody that's showing it to me, I'll just go the other way. In other words, you're not gonna force me to take your shit, especially if I'm not in the mood for your shit, right? And outside of that, there's nothing you can fucking do about it. You can't get me arrested for it. You can't sue me for it. You can't do anything to stop me from doing that. All you can do is get the fuck over it. Get over yourself. That's all the fuck you can do is get over it. You're gonna have to, because I'm not gonna stop being me. And on that note, it's your boy Open Mind, dropping truth bombs for the gaming community, the FGC, and just gaming as a whole. A lot of the mindset needs to change. It doesn't have to. Do what you want to do. But just like you're gonna do what you want to do, I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do. And if you don't fucking like it, I don't give a fuck. I don't know what to tell you. All I can tell you is keep that shit to yourself. Don't bring that energy to me. I'm a grown-ass motherfucking man, and more than likely you're a fucking child talking to me, because most grown men don't come at other grown men about weak-ass shit like not rematching or disconnecting from the game. The game disconnected, so you rage quit. Like, grown men don't trip on shit like that. Only little bitch-ass little boys care about stupid shit like that. I hear my kids all the time complaining about people rage quitting. He rage quit. I'm talking about my 13-year-old daughter and son. You know, he rage quit. I can hear them in the room complaining. That's a child. That's children. Children complain about shit like that. The child doesn't understand that the game disconnected. The child says rage quit. I had to explain to my child, baby girl, how you know they rage quit? Well, you see, look, it says connection dropped. But how you know they rage quit? Cause they rage quit. No, they didn't, baby girl. You don't know. It was just a disconnect. Calm down. Stop yelling and screaming at these people on this game. You're supposed to be having fun. Okay, I'll calm down. See what I'm saying? I live in the house with kids who play video games online and do childish shit on their microphones, right? I'm not a fucking kid. So when kids do that shit to me, I shut them down. Creator bless y'all. Get money. Deuces.